Welcome to this episode of the Faster Than Lightspeed podcast. I'm your Captain King with my XO, Joey!
Joey. Hey Ken, how are you doing this morning?
Doing okay.
What's that the afternoon? How are you doing this afternoon?
This afternoon, we're doing this later than usual.
Yes, because
we didn't have a lot of ideas for this episode.
I had plenty of ideas, you just didn't like them.
We're like in between things right now, right?
Next week is going to be a great one. It's going to be the Jungle Cruise episode.
We'll talk about that later.
Yes, we will.
So today, we're just kind of generally hanging out, though. Because, we don't really have much. We'll be discussing news. And,
Totally forgot to bring up the news, but I have some. I have the news.
Yeah. And also, we're gonna talk about just the most powerful science fiction factions. So groups like the Galactic Empire or the Federation or things like that. And we'll debate on what is the most powerful. Okay.
Yes. Are we going to disagree? I doubt it. I bet that we'll quickly discover which one's the most powerful.
Yeah, I think at a certain point in time we might have disagreed. But now, I don't see why we would disagree now.
I mean, I have one.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it. So you have news? What news do you got?
This is not necessarily our cup of tea,
okay.
But they're making an animated Injustice movie, right?
Injustice, okay.
And
did you play the second game? I played the second game.
I played the second game, but not the story.
Okay, well that's what I'm talking about.
I watched you play the story.
Yeah, I remember it being okay.
You chose the Superman ending.
Well, because I'm a Superman guy.
Yes, and I agree. And I told you to play Superman, and you're like, no, I should probably side with Batman. But I'm like, no, but you're Superman. We're Superman together.
I'm like, yeah, you're right.
But and the person that they casted as Superman is Justin Hartley, who plays Green Arrow.
Plays Green Arrow in
Smallville.
He also played Aquaman for like a pilot of an Aquaman show.
Yes.
That was not good, but he was Aquaman for a bit.
Yes, as Superman. And they got Anson Mount, who's playing Batman, who is I cannot speak.
Well, he's Pike, right?
Yes, and he's also Pike. He also plays
the
character that I cannot talk.
He played Black Bolt in the Inhumans show.
We should talk about Inhumans in our experience. We're not watching it again.
Well, we have to watch it if we're gonna talk about it. We need a refresher. That show's like 5 years out now.
Yes.
So that's for an animated show.
Yes.
Okay.
An animated, I'm guessing one-off movie, but it could have a sequel.
A movie? Or I'm confused.
Yes, it's an animated movie.
Oh. Because
DC does all those animated movie stuff.
Yeah, they do a lot of those. I don't know how they distribute those at all.
I don't know.
They must stream it.
Yeah. CW today announced that Superman Lois will be going on DVD and Blu-ray.
Okay.
Which people were freaking out about that, but they never said anything about streaming. Justin E. Bell said that he will be not working on music for Outer Worlds 2. That's not your cup of tea either. But I'm kind of sad because the music was really good for those games.
Okay.
And yeah, that's
all you got. I heard that the Halo Infinite flights, they're all bots. That's like a bot only flight.
What are you talking about for the bots? Oh, Doom trailer came out.
I think when you load into one of these matches, I think you're only playing against bots. For this beta test sort of thing. Oh. These alpha tests. Which is weird.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. EA Play was this week as well. Nothing interesting really was announced in my opinion.
Okay.
A racing thing, more details on Battlefield, but I'm not going to play Battlefield.
Right.
I know you're interested in it, though.
They showed something about a Battlefield portal, and they were showing, so this is for, community creators. I'm guessing it's a Forge sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think you can be on a map and you can put in any type of equipment from any games or from a lot of the games, because they were showing Spitfires chasing after F-15s. I'm yeah, that's not realistic.
Yeah.
F-15 is gonna be on the other side of the world by the time a Spitfire's trying to chase it.
How'd you feel about the Dune trailer?
It looks cool. It didn't show crazy a lot outside of what we've seen before, I feel.
Okay.
But it was just more expansion on what we've seen before, and it's really cool still.
Yeah.
I'm loving the cast. I like Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho, and you have Thanos. What's Thanos' name? I'm forgetting it. Josh Brolin.
I was thinking about saying Pierce Brosnan.
That's
Imagine
what
that's a different universe.
That's what I kept saying. But yeah, Josh Brolin as Gurney Halleck, who was originally played by Patrick Stewart in the David Lynch movie.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
All right, and
I'm liking Oscar Isaac as Duke Leto Atreides.
Yep.
He's pretty good in that. He's got quite the beard for this too.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean, it looks incredible effects wise. And there was just one effect, I guess, where they show Paul in like the sort of golden armor suit, and it opens up like the mask portion, and you see his face. There looked like something janky with that effect. I don't know what it was. It just looked like really blurry. And I don't know if it was because they gave him the blue eyes at that point. There was something janky about that effect.
I don't know. The Dune trailer, I think a lot of people really didn't like, because people are not happy how confusing it looks.
How does it look any more confusing than a Star Wars movie?
I have no idea.
That's why
we'll get there.
I don't understand that.
I feel like the fans will eventually learn. Like, when you're in the theater, I think you're going to be fine.
I would think so as well.
Yeah. And I feel like that kind of adds some mystery aspect of what is this world?
What is this world, even though this world has been around for so long.
Oh, so long.
It
has a lot of fans.
Yeah, it has a huge cult following, for sure.
Yes. But cult following movies don't always do well.
It's true. Like Blade Runner, which this director also did. Yep. But I really want this to do well and spark a new, just massive franchise for this thing.
What kind of franchise do you hope this spins off to? A Marvel?
Just Dune. I mean, just like Star Wars level.
Oh, Star Wars? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, not necessarily that there's a bunch of spin-offs, but like it has a definitive saga, like a 4-6 movie, saga of movies that lead from the first book into the later books, maybe, Children of Dune and all that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff in this universe that they could make movies about this for a long time, I think, if they wanted to. And yeah, I think, yeah. And if it gets because I know this is supposed to be a part 1 of a 2-part sort of thing, that if it does well, they would do a part 2. So I don't know if that means they're only doing half of the first book. I don't really know. So we'll see. Because yeah, I think in this trailer I've only really seen stuff from the first half, stuff that I've read, except for that fight where they're in the suits and stuff. I don't recognize that quite. Yes. I recognize a lot of it though.
I'm worried that's going to fall into what I think, which is it's going to end on a cliffhanger and hype up a sequel that may never happen.
Right, I don't want it to be a cliffhanger. I'm hoping it feels like a natural ending, but like there's more to do. Like a
New Hope.
Sure.
Where like they've destroyed Death Star,
but
you see Darth Vader get away.
The Empire's still around. Darth Vader's still around. Yeah.
The rebellion hasn't won.
Right. It's not a completed victory.
Yes.
Which I'd be satisfied with that. Yeah.
A New Hope, perfect first movie in a franchise. Same thing with maybe The Fellowship of the Ring.
How about Iron Man?
That as well, of course.
Of course.
Of course. Well, that's like the go-to that a lot of people say. I felt like I was mixing it up by saying A New Hope.
What? Weird.
The last news of the day is Superman news. Where, separate from the J.J. Abrams movie, in the Flash movie, where they're making Supergirl, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're making another Superman movie where Michael B. Jordan's going to produce.
He's going to produce it?
Yes.
Not starring in it.
They said produce. Starring in it, though, very probable.
Weird.
They said produce.
So which one is the J.J. Abrams movie? Did they cast a Superman for that?
Not yet, but they said it's gonna be a black Superman.
Okay.
And the Michael B. Jordan one will be on HBO Max only.
Okay.
Which I guess is what will make it different.
Weird.
J.J.
I don't understand a lot of these projects.
Especially because, like...
I just want a good Henry Cavill one, to be honest. I want to see Brainiac, though,
yes.
especially.
And I got separate news for you. Another Superman news is they said that Man of Steel 2 is not off the table. They said that again. They said the writers aren't necessarily interested right now, but they could come back. That's what they said.
That's what I want. I want Superman against not Lex Luthor, because we've had that however many times, and that's never really entertaining in movie form to me. I want like a Brainiac or something.
I feel like I have to politely disagree with your Lex Luthor thing. We need a solid live action Lex Luthor.
But we already got Lex Luthor in that.
But it sucks.
I know, that's the thing. I can't trust them to do it right.
Yes, we can.
Nah. I only like Smallville Lex Luthor.
I think you need to do animated Superman style Lex Luthor. And you can have your Brainiac, right? He's your big...
You haven't even watched those animated...
I've seen enough.
No, you haven't. Because it's the same... It's meh.
I like Lex Luthor being... He's like the epitome of like the max potential of a regular human.
I thought that was Batman.
Well, fighting wise, but like peak intelligence.
Right, Batman.
I'm sorry, but Lex Luthor smarter than Batman.
Wow. I don't know. I think they're pretty much on equal level in like almost everything, except probably fighting ability.
Oh yeah, fighting ability.
But I think in most ways they're like equal intelligence and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Lex is sometimes blinded by his ambitions.
Yes.
That would be my argument.
And yeah, and I just want like Lex Luthor's like, I was behind Brainiac all along. I've manipulated Brainiac to doing what I want to do.
Nah, I don't know.
It's kind of like a good Amazing Spider-Man 2, where you got Electro being the main villain, and then you got Green Goblin lurking around the shadows.
People love that movie.
Dude, people love that movie.
People love all those movies.
Yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, yes. We should definitely have a podcast episode talking about Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
We can talk about that, yeah.
Not soon. We're not in a rush for that.
So, do we want to get into our sort of main topic?
Yes. That was a lot of news. But you know, I try speed rushing the stuff that I knew you wouldn't care about.
Right. So, what is the most powerful science fiction faction? So, as kids, we would always go one way, and we would just say Death Star. Every time we would say, do they have a Death Star? I don't think so. And we would always say Star Wars would win in terms of the Empire being the winner. Because they have a Death Star.
Do you remember watching those videos of Star Trek versus Star Wars? Who will win? And then we would always see like Star Wars wins. Like, yes, this is how it is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why we're against Star Trek, but it's like, yes, Star Wars must.
Well, because
win.
when you're a kid, you're not watching Star Trek. Okay, we watched a bit. Yeah,
I watched Star Trek because after my half days of school, I had the little mini sausages and watched Star Trek the original series.
All right, whatever.
Those are fond childhood memories.
All right, but yeah, we would always vote Star Wars because we would be watching the Clone Wars or something like that.
Yes.
But nowadays, I would say they're kind of on the weaker end of stuff. Would you agree?
No, but keep going.
I mean, because I can't think of many that they would really rival. I think the Federation, on the topic of Star Wars or Star Trek, the Federation in terms of, I think just their technology level is a grade above Star Wars.
No.
I think phasers can like destroy planets on their own, yeah.
This is the problem with Star Trek, though. Is they say they can do these things, but when they actually need to do it, it's not true. They never do it once.
What do you mean?
They just can't do it.
They've destroyed planets. Or they've rendered them uninhabitable.
So does the Empire.
Right. So what makes the Empire more powerful than the Federation?
I think just more so size of their ships and army.
But I don't think that's true. I think a Galaxy class, I don't think they're even that much big.
Think of it like
that
this.
Bigger.
Star Wars, the Empire controls the entire galaxy.
Right.
Federation, not even all of the Alpha Quadrant.
Okay.
So just mere scope.
The Federation isn't conquering, though, first of all. It's a different... You're talking about different story-wise, how that works.
Well, yeah, that's all included.
Is it, though?
Yes.
So now are we going to say the Dominion versus... Say, then something more powerful in Star Trek. But even so, I don't think the Empire... I think phasers... If we're rating it on planet destruction basis, I think the Federation can do as much damage as, say, a Death Star. More damage, because they can equip way more ships with planet-destroying technology.
You also have to remember, the Empire has more weapons than just the Death Star that can destroy planets.
Like,
Such as every single Star Destroyer being able to destroy a planet in The Rise of Skywalker.
that's not the Empire.
Would you consider that the final order then?
That's the final order, yeah.
Okay.
Or first order, by extension.
It's the final order.
Sure, yeah.
We skipped the middle order. How can we get a Star Wars movie talking about the middle order? Is that too much to ask?
But we've also seen that these ships, right? If you can collide stuff into them at light speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll destroy them. I feel like the Federation can do that a lot.
You think they'll just do that to the Star Wars ships?
I don't know.
We heard what Ryan Johnson said about the whole hyperspace ramming.
That's with
though.
hyperspace. But with warp drive, it works differently.
Wait, what are you trying to say? Hyperdrives can probably...
Hyperdrives, because hyperdrive is you're going into another sort of space, but the ramming might happen as you're accelerating up to the speed to enter that space, and then that's when you have to do that. So it's all about your calculation when you're accelerating up to that, right? With warp drive, you're just traveling at that speed.
Yeah.
You're just traveling at warp speeds at all times. You're not in some other space. So that's the point when you can do that.
Basically, you're folding space, if that makes sense.
Sure.
People are smashing their
can,
phones.
They can
when
ram
you're
stuff.
when you're talking about this, people are
So
smashing their phones.
They also have Genesis devices that will just
that means
blow
nothing.
up. What do you mean? They'll blow up. What do you mean? They'll blow up. They'll blow up ships.
How many Genesis missiles were there though? One.
The one, but they can make more.
They can make more Death Stars. Then we get into they can make whatever they want. They can make...
Okay, so they have one Genesis device. They have... What's the device that was used in Generations that blew up a star system? That would just blow up stars.
I know what you're talking about. Let's just move on. What
There
else?
was like 3 of those. There was at least 3 of those. But it's really...
Now we're counting planet killers. We
But
have gone to
then
this
you go
point.
into where any quantum torpedo can be converted by Worf to render a planet inhospitable.
Okay.
Right?
I don't know where you're getting at.
I'm just saying.
They're both very powerful. We get it. Empire has the ships, manpower.
What do you mean the ships? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Depending on what time period you're talking about the Empire, they could be using clone armies.
That's not the Empire. That's the Republic.
In the Bad Batch, what do they use? In the Bad Batch, where the clone, they use clones, don't they?
Okay.
Early
They're not
Empire,
making clones, though. They're not buying new clones.
They might be. I guess they paused it, but they still have clones.
All right. Should we talk about the Dominion then?
Yes. Let's go ahead
Where
and
they
talk
have
about the Dominion.
Jem'Hadar
Let's talk about...
and they're genetically engineering their own
Yes.
soldiers.
Yes, but there's something else about the Jem'Hadar. A lot of them.
I'm just
don't
saying.
even want to fight.
Okay, I think we can't base it on numbers because numbers is dumb.
That's one of the big advantage of the Empire, though, is they have galaxy-wide control. Like, in order to evade the Empire, they literally have to go to the outreaches of the galaxy, where you see like Zeb's home, like new home planet. That's like the only way to avoid the Empire now.
I'm saying, does that matter though? If Federation starships are just more powerful, though.
They're not.
I think they are.
I think Star Destroyers are bigger.
I don't think so. We'll look up Star Destroyer dimensions.
And let's be honest. One blast from a Star Destroyer would blow up an entire computer terminal on any Federation ship, killing maybe 3 people.
I'm just saying, no, I'm saying an ion cannon is not as powerful as a phaser. Based on, like, what we've seen in, like, shows and stuff. Because
when do we see this happen, though?
Because in Enterprise, this is the lowest tech phaser.
Okay.
In Star Trek. They overloaded it by accident, and they destroyed a mountain the size of Mount McKinley, they say. And when they're installing phasers onto the Enterprise, the NX-01.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Right? They say they destroy a mountain the size of Mount McKinley. That's big. Okay?
But when has it ever used it outside
in Star Wars, we see Thrawn shooting barrages down to a city, down to Lothal City.
Okay.
And it doesn't do crazy amount of damage with a ton of... It doesn't decimate the entire city. It leaves it, it makes damage, but it doesn't leave it in rubble,
Okay.
That's my argument.
But what if... Like, do you believe in the legend, right? Not Star Wars legends. This is technically a canon Star Wars legend. A canon one. Where it's Luke Skywalker being able to pull down a Star Destroyer by himself. Using the Force.
No.
You don't think that happened?
No. I think that's how Force Unleashed.
But it was obviously an Easter egg to on Force Unleashed.
Right.
But that was kind of like one of the things that they say. What book was it where they said that?
That was in like... it was like Tales of Luke Skywalker or something.
Yeah.
It was just a bunch of homeless kids talking about Luke Skywalker on Canto Bight.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
I want to see Canto Bight again. I know it's like literally the worst.
I don't want to.
I know it's literally the worst story arc in that movie, right? In maybe definitely all the sequel trilogy movies, right? But I want to see Broom Kid again.
Hold on. So an Imperial class Star Destroyer is 1,600 meters in length.
You're more average.
A Galaxy class starship,
which is Enterprise, right? Enterprise D.
Yeah. It has a length of 641 meters.
Which is bigger?
So the Imperial class is 1,600. So it is. It's what would that be? Not quite half the size, yeah. So you'd be right about that, yeah.
Yeah.
What about a Sovereign class? No.
And you got the little Defiant going around. Love the Defiant, right? But man, you see the Defiant get beat up by a Borg cube.
Sovereign class is not much bigger. But we have seen that Dominion dreadnoughts are bigger than Star Destroyers.
How about Super Star Destroyers?
I don't know.
Exactly. Kenny, you have your... Oh, look at this good, powerful ship.
Okay, there's only like this 3,
bigger
though.
ship.
There's only 3, though. There's only like 3 of those, though.
Still. How many dreadnoughts do we have in Star Trek?
A lot?
How many, though?
I don't know. We see like hundreds of them, I think.
You just need Kenny, you could leave a Federation ship by itself, and the warp core is going to explode.
No,
yes.
That's not true.
Yes, totally factual.
That's not true.
You say it's not true. How many times has this happened?
I just don't see your argument. So you're saying just by numbers and size, but you're not arguing the actual technology, which is what I'm arguing.
That's so hard to judge.
I think it's easier to judge. I think it's easier to judge.
You know what the fans know? Let's move on. Let's go talk about some other ones, okay?
What about the Covenant versus the Empire? Say eliminate.
Oh, the Empire won.
I know. Say eliminate. I think that's the only one that really the Empire can defeat, like, straight on. Because even if you eliminate the Death Star, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know how big a supercarrier is, though. How big is a Covenant supercarrier? Covenant supercarrier is a Covenant supercarrier is over 11,000 meters. No, lengthwise it's over 28,000 meters. It's almost 29,000 meters. A Star Destroyer is 1,600 meters. So let's look up what a Super Star Destroyer is. Suddenly this argument is changing, Joey.
No, this is.
I don't know, Joey.
Because we still have the Death Star, man.
Okay. Do you think stormtroopers though, say Covenant boarding party on the Death Star? Can stormtroopers fight off elites?
Yes.
I don't think so.
You really don't think that? Ad Inversio?
A stormtrooper? That's one guy, and she betrays them. They lose all their good guys every time.
We were talking about like at post.
Stop screaming.
You're talking about post Return of the Jedi. You know what I mean?
A super Star Destroyer length. No, that's a normal Star Destroyer. Your Executor class Star Destroyer. Yeah, they're 19,000 meters. So a Covenant supercarrier that's not twice as long, but it's like almost twice as long.
Well, we have. I think you said there's 3 Super Star Destroyers, and there's only one of them.
It's like 5.
There's only one of them, right?
We only see on screen one of them. We see the Executor.
Yes. So there's only one.
Okay.
Which means I think that if you get the Death Star, obviously that's the big one.
Are we only saying stuff that we see on screen?
I mean, how else do you want to judge it? Do you want to just assume? Because I don't want to jump to conclusions.
Well, so you're arguing that there's tons of soldiers around. Okay, we'll argue what's on screen. Covenant wouldn't then.
No, because they have... What are the prophets again? There's the prophet of truth, regret.
Yeah, not each of them have just a super carrier. They all live on High Charity.
How big is High Charity again?
High Charity is like a planet or something, isn't it? I don't remember. But I mean, in Reach alone, you see like 7 maybe. I don't know. Or like in Halo 2, there's like the invasion fleet, and they're like, wow, there was like twice as many at Reach or something. So I'm assuming whatever was at Reach they had a huge force of super carriers.
I don't know.
And then you say each of those has a complement of corvettes, along with Banshees and Seraphs.
Yeah, that's
Phantoms
fine.
and
we got
Spirits.
TIE Defenders, dude. We got TIE Defenders.
Yeah, but Seraphs have shields too.
Yeah.
Along with Banshees to go against fighters.
It's not even that hard to destroy a Phantom or anything, though.
What do you mean?
Because you can destroy it with like a couple of shots of a rocket launcher.
Yeah, but you were talking about numbers. There's so many, and it's not just a couple shots. It's like 15 missiles, maybe.
No.
It's like 15 missiles, yeah.
I'll say like 4.
No.
Who just played the games, Kenny? Who just played the games?
Me.
I did.
No, I did.
Did you play the story?
What do you mean?
Did you play Halo 3 campaign where you actually fight Phantoms?
I played the Halo Reach campaign when you drive a saber fighter.
Well, we're playing different Halo games. We're playing different Halo games.
Okay.
Maybe it varies per Halo game.
Sure.
Halo 3, maybe the most loved Halo game? Question mark, question mark, question mark. So we'll go by that one.
No, we're not. We're doing the more recent one, maybe.
Halo 5? Yeah. All right, guys. We're doing it off of Halo 5. Your favorite.
Can you destroy Phantoms in that one?
I have no idea.
You can't.
I have no idea.
So I win.
Have you played Halo 5? How much of Halo 5?
Ooh, I played like 2 or 3 missions in Halo 5.
Yeah. Great job.
But with this, Joey.
The viewers are smashing their phones.
A Covenant fleet-wise, I think they might be able to defeat the Empire.
They control the entire galaxy. They have so many Star Destroyers.
Joey, now you're changing your argument, though. You were saying what we've seen on screen. So what are you saying?
How do I put this to words? Even with all of the Star Destroyers,
you can select you can select a task force, okay, that you see in a movie, okay, or in some whatever medium you want.
You're still on the Empire. Can we move on from the Empire? I think I want to talk about other things.
But you've been arguing that I wanted to eliminate them right off the bat, and you're like, nah, they're pretty good. I wanted to eliminate the Empire as a contender. No, because we have to eliminate them as a contender for most powerful, Joey.
No, because guess what? Luke Skywalker, he'll pull down a Star Destroyer from the sky. You just pull down the mothership, right?
But what if there's a second one just glassing him?
That won't happen.
What do you mean that wouldn't
won't
happen? What do you mean? I think that's one of
You're saying
ships
that he's gonna
would
be on a
happen.
planet when he does that. You can push it away into while he's on this bridge, right?
But what if then there's 17 Seraphs on him?
Oh yeah. Also, can something else is Darth Vader in his TIE fighter could just take on the entire fleet at once and just win.
But what about what's the Arbiter's name?
Who cares?
Well, if the Arbiter goes after Darth Vader, that's two heroes, Joey, fighting each other now.
But Darth Vader is the greatest pilot. We've seen Rebels. We've seen him just fly up to an entire fleet and take it down.
Yeah, but Rebels suck. And those ships, I don't even think had their shields on. If they did, they were plastic shields.
No. We got it. Darth Vader and a TIE Defender, match made in heaven. Galaxy will reap and beg for mercy.
I disagree. Can a
All right, let's go on to a different matchup.
can a Scarab fight against an AT-AT?
I feel like an AT-AT will win, but
Remember a Scarab, okay? Remember a
I know
Scarab
what a Scarab.
is a giant hunter.
Wait,
It's a giant hunter.
what were those things with like the 4 legs? That you have to like destroy the legs and then climb up?
Yeah,
and then...
that's a Scarab, yeah.
Why are you saying it's a giant hunter? You
It's
mean,
a giant hunter. You know how a hunter is made up of a bunch of worms?
Oh, yeah.
Scarab,
yeah.
too. Scarab is as well.
I think it's because, literally, I think the rope tactic in Empire Strikes Back is like one of the only ways you can really destroy an
That's not
AT-AT.
true.
How often do we see...
In Rebels, all the time. They're just cutting them with lightsabers and going...
Do they have lightsabers, though?
What do you call a energy sword?
Not a lightsaber. You can't cut through anything with
But even
that.
still, you see them in Rebels, they just shoot rocket launchers at them.
Was that an AT-AT or was that an AT... What was it in Rogue One? Because they fired the rocket launcher in
Those
Rogue One.
those are like cargo walkers.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, those they just gun down with like ion blasters.
Yeah.
But no, in Rebels, they're AT-ATs.
Okay.
Dave Filoni did say, however, that those are... That they were obviously adapted at some point to not just take rocket launchers to the legs. Because somebody said, why don't they just use rocket launchers at Hoth to take down these walkers? And I'm sure they were like, oh, shoot. That's a good question. Like, they're different. They're different somehow.
Yeah.
But with that being said, fusion coil launchers.
I don't know.
What were they?
This is such a... I hate technology versus technology, which is what you're arguing for.
But we can't do numbers. Numbers is dumb.
I think numbers is how we have to do it.
No, because
Size?
that's dumb. And I don't know how many soldiers, and we don't know how big the Covenant.
All right, you know, okay, we're moving on. We're
Covenant
moving on to our
is.
next one, okay? Borg versus Scarens. Who wins?
What?
Borg versus Scarens.
Borg.
Scarens. What are you talking about? We can't. Okay, guys, I was so wrong. We were not going to agree. We're not agreeing.
What are the Scarens gonna do?
They have... Oh, my God.
They can do heat or whatever. They'll just adapt to that.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Borg will just adapt to whatever the hell you want. Does the Borg beat the Empire?
No, absolutely
Maybe.
not.
I don't know.
Absolutely not. The Borg, I think, are kind of weak, in my opinion, though.
They can be.
Because,
Depending on your rules for them, yeah, they can be.
as in Janeway, just... I feel like Next Generation, they're so cool. First Contact, even cooler, right? They're like... They're menacing. They're scary. Then Voyager, they're like... Oh, let's go have one of the crew members be a Borg too. And then every single point afterwards is like, why is this? Like now the Borg are just weak.
Because they find out how to beat them.
Yeah, which is like
More or less. They find new ways to beat them.
yeah, which I think makes them kind of seem weaker, kind of a bit more lame.
I mean, yeah, but I still think the Borg would beat the Scarens from Farscape.
I think so.
Scarens being what, giant lizard guys that can
Yeah,
that can radiate heat from their hands, right?
You're convincing me on this.
Yeah.
If only he used this logic against the Empire, then maybe we wouldn't have as much screaming.
He said, I told you. Imperial ion cannons are not as strong as phasers. I gave you that logic.
I don't know. I
know.
I disagree.
You don't know.
Kenny,
I know.
If the Force wants the Empire to win,
which it doesn't. It never
it
does.
does.
It never does.
Order 66 much? They wanted the Empire to win then, didn't they?
That's not the Force.
It was.
But the Empire still fell at some point. That's the Force making them lose.
So but they also made the Empire win. What are you talking about?
No, they didn't win because they lost in the end. In the end, they lost. Joey, the Force works.
No country lives forever, Kenny.
Yeah, but some usually live past like 60 years.
We're not even talking about the Final Order where every single ship has a world-destroying device. This is just the regular Empire.
Yeah,
just
but those can't leave the planet that they were built on.
No. Did you see all of them in the clouds?
Yeah, they couldn't leave. They were just stuck floating there. Like, oh,
no,
what do we do now?
They would get charged, Kenny. They'd be charged up and ready to go.
No, they had to learn how to leave, which only they could transmit through the 1 point or whatever. And they're like, oh, we gotta leave so we can do stuff.
Rise of Skywalker, good movie, by the way.
I enjoyed it more than most people.
Yeah, I think it might be I still think it's maybe the worst one of the trilogy.
Maybe.
But we are a loving sequel trilogy podcast.
So, what else?
Scarens versus Borg.
Borg wins.
As much as I like the Scarens, I think you convinced me on this one. This is a good, meaningful discussion that we just had. Look at that.
By just saying Borg would adapt. That's all I said.
You're like, because I forgot their weakness. I forgot their weakness of the warmth. Or was that just
No, the Scarens.
Rubius?
No, the Scarens need heat. When the Sebaceans could not have heat. They were weakened by heat. But I'm saying that was really the Scarens' only real weapon was heat.
Okay.
Which I don't think how much that's going to affect a Borg. Just, a flamethrower.
Okay.
Right? When they can just, hack into their ship's systems to, like, suffocate Scarens or just immediately assimilate a Scaren and suddenly, you have soldiers that
I was expecting you to agree with me and say Scarens.
No.
But so I'm going to throw out my second thing anyway, which is Scarens versus the Viltrumite Empire of what we know from the show.
The Viltrumites.
I guess, right?
Yeah, because they're just supermen that can fly around and destroy people.
Yeah.
What did I have on my list?
Viltrumite's kind of overpowered in that respect.
Yeah,
the Empire will still be able to beat them, though.
We talked about the Galactic Republic, Federation, Covenant. What about another villain one? The System Lords.
Another villain one? As if we had a good one. A good guys.
I know, I'm waiting for good guys. I'm waiting to start doing good guys. But yeah, the System Lords of Stargate. So a bunch of space Egyptian gods.
Versus who?
I don't know. Are they that high up? I think the Empire would pretty easily beat them.
Yes.
I think in terms of just... I don't think the Jafar are that good of an army.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about the SGC versus the Covenant?
That's something I was going to bring up. The Tauri. How strong are the Tauri? Because you could argue a lot of the Tauri, they're dependent on guerrilla tactics using Stargates to a certain point. Up to that certain point where suddenly they are the most powerful race in the universe. Where they have a number of starships that are literally the most powerful starships in the universe.
Yes.
And they have Asgard technology, which, again, is literally like some of the most powerful stuff in the universe. Mm-hmm. But they only have like 6 ships, in Atlantis. Mm-hmm. So how far can that take them, right?
Well, obviously they can defend Earth with the Atlantis missiles. So. Yeah. Which, oh boy, are those kind of overpowered to a certain extent.
Right? Yeah.
Like, I can't even imagine how you could defeat those.
But even just with the Asgard... either beam technology where they're the only people that decide, we can beam nukes into other ships, No, in non Star Trek or anything, do they usually do that? They do it once in Star Trek, I think. Which it's like, wow, it took Harry Kim to decide to do that.
Yes.
Nobody else decided to do that ever.
Mm-hmm.
Wild. But literally, right off the bat in Atlantis, they're like, let's start beaming nukes over to sticking other ships.
Yes.
And of course, enemies adapt to that by a certain point. But not, I think, if we're doing a one battle thing, they do that immediately on Star Destroyers or on Covenant ships, and they win, I don't know how you beat that.
Yeah.
And even if they do, if suddenly we say, okay, they can't transport nukes over to ships, their energy weapons against Ori ships, which are supposed to be like impregnable by really any sort of energy weapon, any conventional energy weapon, there's destroy them like 3 shots, which you can take that as how you will. But I'll argue that it's always going to be 2 shots to take out a shield on any type of ship. And then the third one is destruction, is instant destruction. Yes. I'm going to argue that. So can you think of any other faction that would beat that in terms of technology? And then they also have fighters. They have their own fighters. All right. They have the F-302s, which are one of my favorite designs, too.
Yeah.
Could the Tauri fight off the UNSC?
Master Chief can probably just take him on, just by himself.
I don't know, Joey. SG-1 versus Master Chief?
Well, my bin is with SG-1, I have to say. It's a Merlin.
Well, or you could also say SG-1 versus, or Noble Team versus SG-1.
SG-1 with Jonas and Cameron Mitchell.
Plus Atlantis Team.
Plus the Atlantis Team. With Ford or with Jason Momoa?
With Jason Momoa.
Of course.
Ford sucks.
Hey guys, I want to post this out there. Did Ford live?
Nobody knows.
Did Ford live?
Nobody knows what you're talking about.
Come on, MGM. Answer us. The question remains. Nobody's... I think I've tried to look this up. If Ford survives, nothing. No one's talked about it.
Yeah. About Cameron Mitchell. Did you mention Cameron Mitchell for SG-1?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
And Jonas.
Okay.
We got all the main cast members. Both Weirs, both blonde and brunette Weir. Okay, can we explain this story? Because I don't want to just argue that.
You're just talking about Stargate characters.
So in Stargate, right?
No, you can't explain it now.
No, in Stargate.
Just that they recast her.
They recast her because they realized they already have a blonde woman.
No, that's not why
they had to recast her, so they had a brunette.
That's not why they recast her. She had to do another show or something. I don't remember.
No,
that was it.
I think she got fired because they realized they had 2 blondes.
No, but then also you have the Tauri can explode entire star systems if they have a Stargate.
Oh, yeah.
Sam Carter can destroy a star system.
Yes, because you can blow up the stars.
Yeah.
I did that one time.
But everybody assumes she can do it again.
Didn't Rodney McKay also do something very similar, though?
No, Rodney turned on like a turret with infinite energy that just started rapidly shooting things in a star system, and they kind of always assume that he destroyed it. But did he? I would argue not.
Stargate, great show. Watch Stargate, okay?
But yeah, because you have the Odyssey, which can also just replicate whatever the hell it wants.
Yeah.
With the Asgard terminal on it.
Do you think Amazon is going to make another Stargate show?
I hope so. I don't expect them to.
If they will, it'll probably be after The Expanse. It's like, what other sci-fi show we're going to boot up?
Oh, maybe. That's a good call. Yeah, I do like these. I'm not going to put any Expanse factions in anything.
Because I don't know them and they're only one system?
Well, it's also, they're small. They're low tech, when compared to, say, anything else. Just the only thing would be that, say, like the Belters are very, very ingenuitive in terms that they'll just they'll basically put stealth tech on an asteroid and throw it at a planet. And that will, that's like a nuclear bomb going off on that planet. So, They're ingenuitive, but I don't think they're definitely not up there with most powerful as of now. I haven't read any of the books. I don't know what's coming up in the show. Who knows if there's a huge power spike in terms of that, which would be wild, but I don't think there will be.
I got a really, really wacky one.
I can only think of one right now that could rival the Tari in terms of technology levels. But yeah, Go ahead.
This is very, very specific. Okay, in a very certain circumstance of how they would meet, because you would have to do it for this one. Okay.
Okay. You're doing it like fight offs. I'm just trying to rank them on like scales.
Oh yeah, you're doing a different game of me.
Yeah.
I'm doing versus.
Yeah, I don't want to do versus.
Okay. The TVA.
Right.
Versus more generally, let's say like the Kree or Nova Corps. And like the Nova Corps know they exist.
What? Why are you doing two of the same universe? That's
guess.
Lame.
I guess that's kind of lame.
It's lame. I think the TVA really shouldn't be as powerful as it is, because you just have like police with batons that come out of portals like, oh hey, bang bang. You would think that they have no ranged weapons.
Yeah, you would think that somebody would be able to like, yeah, I'm gonna beat this girl up.
Well, obviously there were, right? I mean, that's how Loki does whatever. It's just that they have infinite time to catch these people. That's where it comes into play.
Yeah. I don't feel like there would
it's never organizations versus the TVA. It's always like a single person versus the TVA somehow.
Yeah.
Which to me is kind of wild.
Kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Not a fan of the TVA in general and like the larger scope of the universe.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a weird, which is why I was like, should I say this question? Should I say it? And you kind of bought me some time. I'm like, should I say it? Should I say it? Or should I say something else?
Okay. So, what do you think overall is, like, without a doubt, the most powerful faction in science fiction or in comic books or whatever?
No joke. I came into this thinking that was gonna be the Scarens.
What?
You already beat me.
What?
You already beat
me. Because also the problem with Farscape, with any of those factions, is that you don't really see them on a full scale at any point. You see a couple of dreadnoughts of theirs, right?
Yes.
And you see a battle at the end of Peacekeeper Wars.
You always feel like there was more dreadnoughts of it, but that destroys our role, which is we don't know how many dreadnoughts there are.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. We don't know much about them, because that whole show takes place in, like, uncharted regions of space.
Or Peacekeeper space, somewhat.
It's uncharted regions of space. You know? And again, the Peacekeepers, I think their technology is low, because they can never track anybody.
Oh yeah, Peacekeepers are not the most powerful one. They are large but lazy.
Yeah. Well, I just don't think the tech in that world supports real warfare in that degree.
Yeah, sure. Well, they were getting there with Talon.
Maybe.
Which, never see Talon again.
Well, yeah, dead.
Yeah, dead.
Which was a shame, but...
Talon was fantastic. I'm like, well, we're not really seeing any true body of Talon. Like little bits and pieces, so maybe he's still alive? No, they didn't do it.
But do you have any other ideas for what would be the most powerful?
We're just smiling at each other because I think my brother knows the answer.
What is it?
The Great Empire, Kenny. The Great Empire.
What?
The Empire.
Oh, the Galactic Empire? No.
Just because of size and scope. Well, what do you think? Viltrumite Empire is obviously there as well. But go on.
No, it's the Systems Commonwealth.
Ha! That's a great one to end. That's a great one to end
it's
it
the
on.
Systems Commonwealth.
I totally forgot about Andromeda.
You forgot about this? So, the system because nobody knows about this one. So, this is from Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda.
Yes.
Which was a show made based off of some of his ideas. Gene Roddenberry being the guy who wrote Star Trek initially.
Very much a communist, but go on.
Probably.
Probably. Yes, he was a communist.
But he had this idea that turned into a show that was called Andromeda. And there, they had the Systems Commonwealth, which was the most advanced sort of organization, like, you know, government across 3 galaxies, right?
Yes.
And the show opens up with their defeat.
Which, according to you said that the Empire does eventually fail.
Right.
Therefore, it's not the most powerful one.
Commonwealth also comes back. for who knows how long. You haven't finished the show, so I guess I won't spoil it.
Yeah.
But they're around
Yes.
at the point that you are in the show.
Yes.
A new Commonwealth is made. But why I say, because they have huge ships. I don't know what their ships are strong, and they can usually be manned by one person. They have AIs. You really only need one person because that's how their Lightspeed travel works. They use Slipstream, which you have to be organic based in order to use. For some reason, I don't remember why. I think they said it's based off of instinct is how you navigate it, somewhat. I don't know, but their real weapon, okay, are Nova bombs.
Yes.
Where you have a Nova bomb that destroys an entire star system. The Andromeda Ascendant, the main ship in the show, how many was it armed with at the beginning of the show?
No idea.
I think it was like 30 something.
Maybe, but they keep track of those though.
Yeah,
Not the show.
they did a good job.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
pulling
look
out
it
like
up.
Voyager, which we just talked about the other day, which is we only have like 15 shuttles, and then we see like
I'm gonna look up
80,000
Andromeda Ascendant.
shuttles crash down and get destroyed. Like, how do you make these shuttles?
Andromeda Ascendant is 1,300 meters in length, so that's almost as long as a Star Destroyer, as an Imperial class Star Destroyer. Does it say armaments? Inertial mass, commissioned. It was active for 320 years, but I don't know if that's including the time that was stuck in time. You know, it could produce its own drones and stuff, right?
Yes.
This is basing the entire Commonwealth off of one ship as well, which I think was mass produced.
There's also just the AI. How they're just gonna all just be only controlled by the AI.
Yeah, it had like a drone crew to it, right? They had fighters. They had those mechs on board. Remember those mech? They had just giant mechs with miniguns on them that were fun when they were using those.
Yes.
Because yeah, they could reproduce their own drones. They're like android drones.
I need to finish Andromeda, but my problem is this that I just don't like everybody blaming Dylan Hunt. Like, guys, he saved your life. It's
how many does it? I'm trying to figure out how many. It's not saying how many bombs. Oh, here we go. The average Glorious Heritage class High Guard carried a complement of 40 Nova bombs. So that's 40 star systems right there, I think.
yeah.
It's capable of making a sun go supernova. That's when you use it. Or to turn a black hole into a star.
Okay.
Was that one? Was that what they used?
Maybe.
Because at the beginning of the show,
yeah.
I think they use all 40 of them right away.
Yeah.
But then they get more, like, fairly fast, like in the third episode or something, right? And then they make a new one. They, like, on board, they were able to make Nova bombs, which was wild as well. They made, like, a supernova bomb, which had the capacity of 3 or something, I think. One of the characters makes, Harper. So, that's why I say the most powerful faction is the Systems Commonwealth.
That's not a bad point. I totally didn't even think of that one.
Yeah.
What were the other people with the spikes on their arms?
Oh, Nietzscheans.
Nietzscheans.
They never
That's
had
right.
Nova bombs. And I claim they only defeated the Systems Commonwealth because it was a betrayal.
Yeah. And
If
surprise.
it's open warfare, defined battle lines, I don't know how you beat them.
How about was it the world ship?
Oh, then you have the Magog in that universe, which are like space orcs.
Yes, that's a good way to-
monsters.
Good.
Or not even that. They're like space. Oh, they're monsters.
They're
that
space
will,
rats.
Yeah, sure. That will plant eggs in your stomach,
Yes.
and they're nasty.
And they'll like eat their way out,
Yeah,
and they're like impregnate and lay their eggs in people.
yeah,
So-
terrible. But they had like a ship that was composed of like a number of planets. That was crazy, and that was. I don't think they're more powerful than the actual Systems Commonwealth.
The the reason why they won was because the Nietzscheans
Did
and the
work for
Commonwealth
them.
were already at war, and they just like, hey, look at us.
Well, you could say that the villain in there orchestrated that, which I think they did. But yeah, that's why I would say the Systems Commonwealth would win, because if they have even a couple of these ships, I think they're doing really well. I would just probably argue that the Tauri could maybe beat them. So what do you think between the Tauri, which is basically Earth and Stargate, versus the Systems Commonwealth?
Do you think the Tauri, right, will be able to use the Atlantis drive and like can destroy
The what?
they would have Atlantis, right, which can fly. Let's say it can fly, okay?
Well, let's say it's... Should we say Starship on Star... Because we only really see in it is the Andromeda, right?
Yeah.
So should we do the Andromeda versus... Do you want to do Atlantis or do you want to do Odyssey?
Atlantis, I'm sure, will be a lot more powerful, right?
I don't know. It doesn't have Asgard weapons,
If it's
right?
in space, all you gotta do is pop the bubble, and then everyone's dead. With Atlantis, though, right?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I'm not sure if Andromeda, if they have shields. I think they...
So we didn't even talk about the Wraiths.
The Wraiths, they get beaten up, though, by Tauri. So I consider that a nah. I don't think so. I don't think they really hold up. They're cool, but they're not the most powerful.
If you immediately know that the campfire was fire, and
What?
the cook was...
What are
and the
you
meal
saying?
and the meal was cooked a long
Stop
time
trying to
ago.
quote Stargate philosophers, okay? Stop.
If you knew that
Yeah, and
immediately
then
that the candlelight was fire, then the meal was cooked a long time
yeah,
ago.
and Andromeda, they don't have... they don't use shields, but they do like point defense drones, which is always interesting to me. They also fight outside of visual range, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. Do you think
Where they're just, which is kind of expanse space, where you're just shooting missiles across space at an enemy.
You see, Stargate would just throw a Stargate at, like a fleet of these ships, and then dial up so it's the black hole Stargate, so they're just all stuck in time.
Oh shoot!
We didn't even talk about the replicators.
Okay, what about them?
The replicators had to be
Stop screaming.
The replicators had to be destroyed by basically a halo rings.
No, they also use like weapons though.
They basically like, okay, well this will literally destroy every single one of these in the entire universe, and this is the only way we can destroy them. By far,
except it's not them.
You don't think it is?
No.
It just gets destroyed eventually.
Well, because I mean, they in Atlantis, they don't need that to defeat those replicators.
No, but those replicators are a lot more weak.
Well, they were different. They were a different design. The Milky Way replicators, I think, could have eventually been beaten like that. They just got a couple of boosts that were unorthodox. Right?
Yeah. Remember seeing the human replicators for the first time? I'm like, oh my gosh.
Uh-oh.
That was scary. I like pooped my pants.
What about the Cylons from Battlestar Galactica?
Oh my gosh, I was going to mention that. Replicators versus the Cylons. Who wins?
Oh, probably replicators. No matter what Cylons they're facing.
That's true.
I mean, I don't know. Because reboot Cylons, they use bullets.
Yeah, they do.
And replicators, the toy replicators are... they can very easily be taken out by bullets. So I'm not sure. I'm not so sure. So that one's tough for me to decide on.
Yeah.
Right? Because you agree that, yeah, replicators are generally just... They can't take bullets.
Yeah, that's how it is, isn't it?
Most of the time, yeah. That's how Earth is able to beat them, because they just use P90s on them when everybody else is using lasers and garbage.
Yes. Do you think the Cylons are too mentally advanced? Because that's how Sam Carter was able to beat the Cylons, because she was too dumb. And this Asgard was like, we need a dumber. person.
To be honest, the Cylon, not even the Cylons, but the Colonials in there, they're not that advanced. They just have spaceships, but they still have to work like factory jobs on these spaceships.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they don't have any automation on those ships, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Which could lead into the fact because they talk about in there, right, how they wanted to start fresh at the end of that show. Spoilers for Battlestar Galactica.
Which is, you're talking about the bad Battlestar Galactica that I absolutely
I'm talking
hate.
about the one that people know about.
I'm talking about, how about we talk about the ones that people, like, that actually had, that was good.
So, but in there, because they talk about at the end they want to start fresh. I think that makes sense in terms that last time they reset,
Don't watch Battlestar Galactica
they
reboot. Don't do it.
they obviously kept some sort of technology, and then that supposedly led to the loop. Really what it did is that they didn't continue developing any new technology. They just kind of stayed at, okay, we have spaceships, but we also have like what we would consider modern day technology, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But we also have spaceships that can do lightspeed travel,
Mm-hmm.
which is weird. So it's a weird sort of technology basis
Yes.
to have like no automation, no real advanced computer systems like that,
Yes.
except the Cylons.
Something I hated about the Cylons, like just truly hated, is that whenever Battlestar Galactica just showed up for a little bit, it's like, they're just all like, oh, the Cylons jumped into orbit. They're right there. They're right there. Look at the screen.
What?
I'm screaming a lot this episode.
You're
This is the
screaming.
scream episode.
You're really screaming.
Yes. But like you would have Adama, and you would just look at the screen, it's like, oh my gosh, look at all the Cylons. They're literally all around us. We have to skip now.
Yeah.
Just immediately. It was really annoying.
That was the first episode of the show. What do you mean?
It was every time they showed up.
Well, yeah, because they couldn't fight them off.
Which I felt like it sucked.
I don't know what to tell you.
Which one do you think would win? Alright, the Pegasus? Or, the Enterprise?
The Enterprise.
Enterprise E?
Enterprise E? It would be a swamping.
Really?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the Pegasus is good in that world, yeah. But I mean, as soon as you put energy and shields into the equation, I think the NX-01 would wallop the Pegasus if at the end of that show when it has phasers and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it would do a pretty good job. But yeah, it would. The Sovereign class, yeah, that's gonna wallop any Battlestar Galactica ship.
Okay.
Just because as soon as you put phasers in, like I said, phasers are pretty OP when you think about it. When you like take in all the data and stuff that we have about it. The only thing more powerful than phasers are Asgard energy weapons.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Again, 2 shots to take out a shield, 1 shot to blow up the ship. That's how the Tauri energy weapons work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and 1 shot to take out the Death Star, you're good to go.
I don't think it's that easy, but whatever.
No, but I mean, you transport nukes into that thing. You know, you start beaming nukes over the Death Star and you win.
I don't think it's that simple.
It is, though. It literally is.
And also,
as soon as they learn to do it, that's all they ever tried to do.
You're the only one that really mentions the Death Star when talking about the Empire.
How do you think the Empire?
We're back on this. We're back on this.
Because you still think the Empire is more powerful than some of these, though.
Yes, I do.
Because again, I'm saying that it's like Systems Commonwealth on the top.
I don't.
Probably on top.
How would you consider the Final Order?
Tauri.
Like when we say the Final Order has all those ships with the world.
They don't really use them though.
We know they work though.
We see one work, and that's not Empire either.
Okay, let's say it's Final Order. Let's go talk about Final Order for a little bit.
And I also don't think that weapon can be used on other starships. Really?
Huh?
I don't think that weapon can be used on other starships. I think that's a anti-planet weapon.
You think so?
I would say so. I think it could be used on on a home one, like on a Mon Cala capital ship, sure, but I don't think it's going to work on something going any faster than a Star Destroyer.
Not like a starfighter for sure.
Right, or on any Star Trek ship, or anything that's going faster, that has maneuverability and isn't just a floating aircraft carrier. Which what are they called? A BC 304, a Stargate ship is not going to be that.
I mean, but they still have TIE defenders though.
Yeah, okay, and they have 302s.
I think TIE defenders would win 302.
Probably, but what about against a puddle jumper? Those have.
Oh, you're talking about.
Those have ancient drones on them, which you've said. Those ignore shields, like 100%.
Oh yeah,
they ignore shields.
Yeah.
So that renders those TIE defenders in there, right?
But how many do they have? Obviously, they have that like whole room, right?
Well, I'm saying, if you put a couple puddle jumpers, okay, on a, what are they? On a Tari ship.
I thought we were wrapping up this episode.
No.
We kept going.
We're at over an hour right now.
We made no progress. You okay? Look, you convinced me. Borg beat Scarens. That's it. I thought we were going to
a puddle jumper has like 4 of those drones on it, or no, more than 4.
Maybe this is me being stubborn.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe
it is. The Empire is not.
Convinced me.
The Empire is not all that more powerful than anything else.
The Empire is the most powerful sci-fi faction.
It's not though.
Change my mind.
Not when you look at the math.
The math, Kenny. Obviously it's about the Commonwealth. SGC, really cool, right? The Tari, super powerful, but against the Empire?
Yeah, they're more powerful.
No.
I mean, you're going off of numbers, yeah. I think they could defend Earth against an Imperial attack, though.
They would just have Starkiller Base across the freaking world.
Well, if they do that, then they're launching an attack on that, though, which they would also win.
You think but they don't. Let's say that Starkiller Base does not have a Stargate on it.
Okay. I mean, yeah, they would just
conveniently.
I mean, Starkiller Base only had 1 Star Destroyer in orbit. Maybe at a time it had like 1 Star Destroyer in orbit.
We also know that the Final Order also has a super Star Destroyer.
Even if they come in, okay, they have the fastest light speed travel too.
Do we know that?
Yes, they do. 100%. They can go between.
Faster,
they go. Sure. I mean, they go between galaxies within like months, right?
I think that's right.
Yeah,
like 4 months.
It is. They're the fastest. They come over Starkiller Base, beam in a nuke in that what is it, thermal whatever.
But this is assuming that
they blow it up.
But how would they know that Starkiller Base is a thing?
Well, we have to give them an even chance.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do. Then how do your people know where Earth is?
They would figure it out a lot easier than
Starkiller Base.
Oh my gosh, guys. You guys now know it.
What are we saying?
You guys.
What's the whole point of this argument if it's not an even matchup to some degree?
We leave them how it is. We don't balance it out. We don't nerf
it
the side.
Joey, the Systems Lords couldn't find Earth. How does the Empire find Earth?
The entire Republic, the entire New Republic couldn't find Starkiller Base before they fired it off.
Right, so why couldn't mine?
Huh?
Why couldn't the Tari find Starkiller Base? You're not making the right arguments.
The New Republic couldn't find Starkiller Base.
No, but, I mean, okay, they didn't know about it.
Yes, and Earth won't know about Starkiller Base.
And the Starkiller Base wouldn't know where Earth is.
But I feel like that would be easier to find.
No, it's not, though. How long do you think the Systems Lords were looking for Earth? Thousands of years.
We would have Obi-Wan Kenobi. You'll go into the youngling chamber.
10,000 years they were looking for Earth, Joey.
They would go into the youngling chamber, and then when the young is like, oh, I know where Earth is.
No, that's not the Empire. That's not the Empire, first of all.
I know where Earthlings is, Master Kenobi.
We have to wrap this up. We're at an hour and 10 minutes right now.
Guys, this is the filler episode of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed. Smash like. Comment.
So I think we decided that it's the system's kind of the most powerful. With the tower, you're pretty close. Don't say a word.
If the Force wants the Empire to win,
I'm gonna kill
then
you.
you should watch the first episode of the podcast so you get the reference.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Filter my Empire versus the Commonwealth.
We're gonna wrap this up. So
Probably the Commonwealth, I would say.
well, yeah, because the Viltrumites only had so many people.
Yes.
All right,
Because they killed each other.
so next week, you wanted to do Jungle Cruise,
Yes, and other failed.
other dumb Disney live action movies.
Yes. Which I think is fantastic.
based off of rides or Disney World things, maybe.
Just Disney, like, I would. Tron. I'll probably talk about a little bit about Tron.
Okay,
That's not a failed one, per se, because people love Tron.
but we'll trash on those movies. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll watch that movie. However bad it is. I don't think that movie's gonna be good at all.
I think there's going to be aspects about it that I'm going to enjoy.
I don't think so. Even watching the trailer, the effects just look bad. They're just on green screens.
It looks like
all the time.
It looks like Pirates of the Caribbean 5.
No, it looks like a video game.
You.
It looks like Jumanji 3 to me.
It looks like Pirates of the Caribbean 5 level graphics, where just green screen everywhere.
Ugh, I don't know.
And they chose Dwayne The Rock Johnson,
Because he's huge, and he's really popular.
and he's very very popular.
He's
That's
huge. But yeah, I guess I think we're gonna try to do that next week.
True. Okay.
Because why not? All right, we've been going for a long time. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Faster Than Lightspeed podcast. Check us out on Twitter at Capped Lightspeed. Let's get that website up. Still not sure where that's at.
Is our dad working on it? Did he forget?
Don't say it. It's our dad working on it.
Our manager?
He's joking. But yeah, we'll have more episodes coming up soon. This has been your Captain Kenny with my XO.
Joey.
And this has been the Faster Than Lightspeed podcast.